right. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Wrestling Otaku back here on the one and only Wrestling Otaku channel, your personification of excellence on YouTube and YWC. We're the best reviews wrestling and your three-time YWC channel of the year. And I'm back here. It is, of course, Monday night. It is a little past 11:36 p.m. here Eastern time. It is, of course, Monday, November 3rd, 2025. So figure I'd go ahead and do a little bit of an impromptu live stream while I'm thinking about it. Just got through watching Monday Night Football. Had the Cardinals beat the Cowboys 27-17, which I think is funny. It's always fun seeing, the Cowboys lose. That's just it's an age-old pastime that I've, enjoyed seeing quite a bit, over the years, and there's actually a groups dedicated to just just basically ragging on the Cowboys and, whenever they lose or something bad happens to them, it's just real fun. But anyway, so I was just, kind of chilling for the most part, had the day off work. I actually got a few days off. And so took some time, just, relaxed, watched some anime, catch up on some, maybe get some, maybe later watch, obviously more anime stuff. And, maybe get a little bit of wrestling in there, watch some matches and stuff, catch up on some stuff. And was thinking about doing some content as well. Of course, earlier I did the little challenge to Steel Till Morning Show. I've yet to hear a response from them. So it is what it is on that. But I was just kind of thinking, brainstorming. So I got the idea to do this video. Now, this live stream. Now, I've been thinking about this for a while, but I figured, now's a good time to do it, since it's late, just kind of decided to do, what the hell, I'll just go ahead and fire up a live stream here on this Monday night. So the topic of this live stream, the title is going to be, obviously, if you probably see it already, the truth about modern day women. So it's been a while since I talked about this subject, and I figure I'd just kind of get my thoughts out there just briefly. I'm going to try not to have this be a super long stream, but we'll see, So the truth about modern day women, well, the truth is, and I've pretty much delved on this in the past, I've gone over things of this nature in the past, and more of this is more so me reiterating things I've already stated, but now looking at the grand scheme of things in society as a whole, especially here in the United States. And I realize, there's a lot going on. There's a government shutdown right now. There's all this back and forth, partisanship nonsense with our government, with Congress, and, all this bullshit with this current administration, this current president, and just a bunch of bullshit, just a lot of stuff going on in this economy, even this country and even in the world. But I also see a lot of things just from kind of like an outsider's perspective, just looking from the outside looking in. That's kind of my mentality nowadays, where I'm just kind of on the outside looking in. I kind of view myself as more of an observer when it comes to things like this, when it comes to the world and social media and things like that. I do throw my 2 cents in there as I'm going to do this video. But yeah, the truth about modern day women is basically the fact that a large percentage of them just are not good. Let's just be real. Let's just get down to the nitty gritty. Now, I will reiterate this again. I do not mean that every single woman on the planet is bad. Let me just make that clear right here, right now. I do think that there is a percentage of them that are good, kind-hearted, good-natured, hardworking, God-fearing. They do the right things. They strive to do the right things. And to them, I have the utmost respect for. The sad reality is, though, is that women like that are, in this day and age, especially, now, nowadays in the age of the internet, the age of online, the age of, the day and age of digital media, misinformation, that sort of thing. Women like that are very few and far in between. And most of the women who kind of fit that mold are basically already taken. They've already got lives. They've already got, families, so on and so forth. So what you're left with is a bunch of bitter, rude, condescending, manipulative, selfish, self-serving individuals, self-serving women with a ton of baggage who will basically have no qualms about using whatever resources they have at their disposal to basically better themselves, or basically, um, they basically have no qualms about stepping on others in order to get what they want. And it's like, you see this more and more, and especially nowadays, especially now that nowadays you see such a push for, oh, women's empowerment, and, oh, we gotta prop up women, and da 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 da, and you got all these movements. You got LGBT, and you got the Me Too Me Too movement, all that kind of stuff, and all this stuff about women's empowerment and feminism, and radical feminism, and a lot of these women just take a lot of these things, and they take the fact that a lot of them are at a significant advantage right now, especially when it comes to things like the dating scene, relationships, things of that nature. A lot of them take these, I'll call them privileges, and they take full advantage of it. Like, again, they have no qualms. They have no. Another thing is, like, a lot of them are very, very morally bankrupt. They just have they have no problem basically stomping on anybody, talking down to people like, they're beneath them, and this applies to anybody, but I'm just speaking in general. And it's like, I don't think that women nowadays really, like, let's face facts. They are privileged. Women in this day and age, modern day women, are very, very privileged. And I think that a lot of them aren't even aware necessarily of how privileged they are. Well, I do think there's a percentage that do, and to those who do, they, trust me, they take advantage of it. I mean, look at sites like OnlyFans. I actually saw a stat earlier today before I came on here, before I did the stream, and I couldn't fucking believe it, but I would not be surprised if it was true. There was a stat that basically said, it was like a post, a meme, whatever, on Facebook, that OnlyFans has officially become the most, what was it? Well, I'm trying to remember what exactly it said. It had the highest revenue. It was the highest revenue efficient company in the world, beating out Apple and Nvidia or something like that. I need to see if there's any truth to that, but I would not be surprised if that was true. I would not be surprised if that was the case. And why do you think that is? It's because a lot of women nowadays, they go on sites like this, and they know that they can benefit from the fact that you look in society now. You just look at the general landscape of where things are, and there's a lot of desperate, lonely men, and these women, they take advantage of that. I mean, there's things like this loneliness epidemic. There's a big male loneliness epidemic now in multiple countries. And you think of Japan, for example. Here in the States, I'm sure it's big, and I'm sure it's in other countries as well. But I just see that a lot now. And you really think that these women, these modern day women, aren't going to take advantage of that? It's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, and you see stuff like this, and it's like you're seeing it more and more, and it's like, how does this not get addressed? How does this not get called out? And then people, whenever you do call this stuff out, whenever you do bring this to the forefront, whenever you do talk about it, and trust me, the reason why I do it is not for, I'm sure, people who are going to watch this later or whatever, react to it or whatever, are probably going to say whatever, but I don't do this. I don't make videos like this or talk about this stuff for attention, for fucking cheap clicks or cheap views. I don't do this for recognition or fame. I don't do this for YouTube revenue or ad revenue or YouTube dollar, whatever the hell. I do this, and I bring this stuff up because it's a real issue that needs to be addressed. And luckily, there are some others, other people out there, be it content creators on here or people online on social media, that are starting to see the same problems that I'm seeing. And so in that sense, it's kind of like, it's progress, but it's not enough. It's not enough. There needs to be more attention to things like this. So let me just kind of tell y'all about something I've been doing. I'd say within the last month, I've been kind of on a. Of course, you guys should know I'm on Facebook. And I'm part of several Facebook groups, mostly like anime wrestling related groups. But there's one such group that I joined like a few weeks ago, and it's just been kind of real fun. Like it's just I guess you could call it a fun group, that I've been a part of, where I've been kind of sharing my viewpoints and stuff on things, topics like this. And it's a group on Facebook called and I swear to God, this is the actual name of it. Women will literally do anything to dodge accountability. It's a private group, and it has about 407,000 members. So yeah, so let me just briefly screen share it just so you can kind of know what I'm talking about here. So give me 1 second while I do that. Share screen. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So there you see it right there. That's the group that I'm a part of, that I joined, a few weeks ago. It's literally the name of it. It's literally the name of the group. Women will literally do anything to dodge accountability. 400,000 members. So yeah, I've been having fun. I've been, just enjoying myself, being, in that group. Again, I've been sharing viewpoints and just sharing my stance and my takes on things like that when it comes to women and how they are. And I've largely gotten positive responses. Of course, you get assholes, trolls, whatever, who will say whatever. It's whatever. I mean, it's Facebook, it's social media. Of course, you're going to have that, but largely, a lot of the opinions that are shared on there when it comes to women, a lot of it is stuff that I've talked about and basically advocated for the last several years while I'm on here. Now, I will say that the group, that specific group isn't perfect. I mean, I'm not a big fan of, because, you have certain people on there with certain extremist viewpoints. Like, you got some people who are, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, because I do see this, unfortunately have, blatant racism, or racist viewpoints. You got a lot of people with strong conservative, mentalities, Trump supporters, things of that nature in that group. So I'm not exactly particularly a fan of that, and I'm very much, if you don't know already, I'm very much against racism in any form. But outside of that, it's a fun group that I've been a part of. And, so I've been just kind of on there, posting and, expressing my ideas and, sharing my opinions on things like this. And seeing stuff like that and seeing some of these other content creators, like I forget what the dude's name. I think I shared his channel. I think I shared a few videos from like different content creators, but there's a number of channels out there who have basically covered and talked about things like I'm describing here. Like I'm describing when it comes to women of this generation, like modern day women. When I say modern day women, I mean, again, generally speaking, if you want to call them millennials, Gen Z, whatever title, but generally I'm speaking like women from, if I had to give an age range, I'd say 18 to 40, 18 to 45, maybe somewhere around there. That's basically what I mean. Now, there are some who are older than that, who basically act the same way. And trust me, I've seen this firsthand. I have seen women in their 40s who literally, I swear to God, they act like they're fucking 20-year-old superstars. They act like they're 20-year-old fucking fitness models. And, not for nothing, they don't look anything like it. But it's just like, it's the mentality. It's the mentality because they have basically been conditioned nowadays and they have been fed to think this way. Like they see all the attention and the notoriety that they get on this online stuff, places like OnlyFans and others, and they let that shit go to their heads, and then inflates their egos, and that's why they go online and they fucking act the fool like that. And that's why they think that they can just talk down to anybody that they want. And they're seeing this more and more. And it's starting to become a real issue. And I've had back and forth with people on groups like the one I just shared when it comes to things like this. And it's like, how do people not see that this is a real problem? How do people not see that this is a real issue? Now, I understand different people are going to have different perspectives. Not everybody is going to share not everybody's going to have the same opinion as me. I understand that. Not everybody's going to have the same experiences as me. Some people, hey, some of you out there, you might be happily married. You might be, in a relationship, whatever. You might have had positive experiences with women. Hey, that's cool. That's fine. I'm not knocking that, but a lot of you have to understand that not everybody is going to have not everybody is going to have it the same way. Not everybody is going to share the same experiences that you've had. If something works for you, it's not necessarily going to work for everybody else. Now, me being the individual that I am, and I've stated this many times, I am far from the most attractive dude in the world. I've said it before. I'm far from perfect. I'm anything but. Even though I have had people, full disclosure, I have had people tell me, both in person and online, that I look pretty decent. I'm a decent looking dude. I've had people tell me that. I've had women tell me that hey, I look fairly attractive. I look fairly handsome. I look younger than I look. Another thing I've frequently been told is I look younger than I look. I look younger than I actually am. That's one thing people have told me. Oh, I thought I look like I'm in my 20s and so on and so forth, when I'm obviously 36. But when you, getting back on point, when you look the way that I do, and when you are an individual like myself, I'm a big dude. I'm obviously, overweight. I'm a big guy. And, I'm biracial, half white, half black. So I don't think that necessarily factors anything. I mean, I guess in certain ways, maybe, but I'm just pointing that out. But when you're somebody like me, and you have the opinions that I have, even if it wasn't for the opinions, when you look the way that I do, and you're a fan of the things that I am, again, I've openly tell people, I don't care. I've openly told people, yeah, I'm into anime, I'm into wrestling. When you're somebody like me, you tend to bring out the worst in people. You do. I've seen it for the bulk of my life, pretty much. Middle school, high school, coming up in, my first job, first couple jobs, and just not all the time, but there are certain instances where you just bring out the worst in people, or people just, they don't feel the need to hold back. And, there's no filter between what they think and, what they actually say. And it is what it is, I've learned to largely ignore that. I've learned to largely just basically tune that shit out. So I largely don't care what people think of me. And I've basically, that's how I've been. That's how I've been for the longest time. But getting back to my original point, people are going to see this and they're going to think whatever. They're going to say, oh, there he goes, oh, you're hating women again, or you're bashing women, or you're an incel, oh, you're a misogynist. I've had this said to me plenty of times, and I'm just coming on here saying, think whatever you want. My points are valid, because if they weren't valid, then people wouldn't be responding in the manner in which they're responding. If I was just spewing out bullshit, then I wouldn't have gotten the reactions that I've gotten for previous videos that I've done, the 10 reasons, why women are trash video I did back in 2020, that infamous video. And then, the requirements for dating video that I did in late 2022, which I have stated multiple times, I did that as a running gag to basically kind of poke fun at and mock, how women will have unrealistic expectations for dating. But if a guy does it, then that's a problem. And that was the whole basis of me doing that video. And, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Whenever you bring this up, and whenever someone brings this sort of thing, talks about this sort of thing, brings it to the forefront, you're almost always met with resistance. It's a thing of, they don't they don't like hearing, like a lot of women, is like they don't like being told the truth. They don't like hearing the truth in this regard. It's like they want so bad to be coddled. It's like they want so bad to be showered with affection. So when you do the opposite, it's going to bother them. And that's not how things should be. Because it certainly isn't how things are for, individuals like me and others. So I just don't think that's very fair right now. So I express these things, and people will think what they will, but I got to call it like I see it. When I do videos like this, when I say things like this, I just got to call it like I see it. I just have to, because I'll be doing a disservice to the people who, watch my channel, enjoy my content, stuff like that, if I didn't, keep it 100, if you will, or call it like I see it. But yeah, so it's like, this is just like, to me, it's a growing problem. And unfortunately, it's likely going to remain a problem for the foreseeable future until people start addressing it, until you get more people out here who start holding these women accountable for their actions, start holding these women accountable for their behaviors. It's never going to change. It's never going to get better. It's never going to get better. It's like, it's going to take more than, people talking about it online for there to be actual change, unfortunately. It's kind of like with what's going on in this fucking country right now with this bullshit, with this government shutdown, and this fucking idiot who's in charge right now in this administration and the powers that be. It's never going to get better until there's actual change. Same thing with this. It's never going to get better until there's actual change. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, to me, like, and I think I've stated this before. I saw this coming. Like, I saw the writing on the wall. Like, you look on social media nowadays, like Facebook or wherever, specifically Facebook, especially with groups like the one I just shared. But it seems like there's this big back and forth between men and women. It's like this big gender war, if you will. It's like a big back and forth, like everywhere you go, almost everywhere you go. But in some places more than others, there's like a big back and forth between men and women nowadays. And I actually predicted this would happen. I was the one who called years ago because I saw the writing on the wall. I saw the direction it was going. And I was the one who said years ago that there was going to be a gender war, and people, scoffed at it, said, "Oh no, you're just overreacting. You're just blah, blah, blah." And look what's happening right now. Look what's happening. Look on social media. Look at all these places, and look what's happening right now. You look at what you go to any fucking dating site, and you see these women's profiles. They are so fucking stuck up and jaded, and they insist that any man who wants to get with them has to do X, Y, Z, so on and so forth. They have all these fucking standards, these unrealistic standards, even to this day. And then when men clap back at that, and then when men basically, say, no, we shouldn't have to do this, that's an issue. And until this is remedied, until people start to bring awareness to this, it's never going to get better, And it's just, I hate to, kind of pat myself on the back, but I did say that it was going to come to this. But yeah, so so the thing, like, for me anyway, I'm kind of like, I'm at a point now where I'm just doing my own thing. Like I said before, I'm more of an observer, more so than anything else. I just see things, I observe things, and then I, give my thoughts on it. I tell, I say what I think, I call it like I see it, as I stated earlier. And it's just like, that's kind of how you have to be nowadays. That's kind of how you have to be, especially in this day and age, in this economy, in this world. You kind of have to look out for yourself. And that's really what I would implore, anybody, any guy, especially, in this modern day and age. You just gotta look out for yourself, because if you don't look out for yourself, there's not a lot of people that are going to. And now my laptop is, at 20%, so I'm probably wrap this up soon. I did say that this wasn't going to be a long video, but I just wanted to make folks, I just want people anyone watching this, because I do see that there's quite a bit of people watching, and I haven't seen any of the comments yet, but I just want like people to just kind of take what I'm saying, to heart. You know, this is kind of where I'm coming from. These are things that I'm seeing. I have no reason to lie about this. I have no reason to bullshit any of you. This is what I'm seeing. And when you see the writing on the wall, and when you see things play out the way that they're currently playing out, it's like it's troubling. And you would want to, if you can speak about it, if you have a platform like I do, you want to speak on these things, and you want to kind of tell people, hey, this is what's going on. I think that this should change. This should change. That's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, that's the state of modern day women dating and relationships, and that's the truth about modern day women. Just a lot of them just aren't very good. Just a lot of them, I think, are very privileged, and a lot of them take advantage of that privilege. And until that changes, I don't see it getting any better. So yeah, so I guess that's we're officially past midnight now, so it is now November 4th, Tuesday. So let me just go ahead and I'm just kind of skimming the comments here. Hello, Anthony Chabot, Boxing Star Bruce, Gamer Dude 499, Codex 655, so on and so forth. House of Chain, hello. I'm just kind of reading. I'm just kind of going through the comments really briefly. So yeah, what's going on, everybody? Alrighty, so yeah, so appreciate everybody who stopped by, who left the comments there, and so yeah, that's that, again, my laptop is it just gave me that notification that it's at 20%, so I'm gonna have to charge this up soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'll leave it at this. For everybody out there, just once again, fellas, take care of yourselves. Do what you got to do, especially in these times, in this day and age. And if you happen to come across a good lady, because they are out there, just very rare. It's like finding a rare Pokemon. But if you do, just make sure that you got all your ducks in a row. Just make sure that you do what you can to just make sure you do what you can to keep yourself happy and keep them happy. And that's pretty much all I got to say for that. So but yeah, so modern day women, I mean, honestly, generally speaking, majority of them, I mean, there might not be any helping it at this point. Like, a lot of them, I think, are lost causes, but I guess only time will tell. I suppose only time will tell. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say on that. So got about a minute left, and then once we pass 30 minutes, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little impromptu live stream here, and I'll try to be doing somewhat more frequent streams and things of that nature, in addition to the usual content that I do. There is a couple of videos I plan on doing the next few days pertaining to wrestling. We got Dynamite in a couple days. Well, actually, tomorrow night. Wednesday night. Yeah, but another day or so. A little over a day or so. But yeah, we got Dynamite, of course, this week, and then after that, we'll see what all happens after that. But more content to come for sure on the channel. But anyway, that's all I got to say for this. So thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate those of you watching live who left comments in the live chat there. And anybody else who watches this after the fact, hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, give me your thoughts on anything I talked about here. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support you get. And with that being said, that's pretty much going to do it. So thanks for watching once again. Until next time, Wrestling Otaku, I'm out. See you guys later. Peace.